Hello everyone, this is Global Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. I also want to remind you that some of my video courses are already available. Buy them if you haven't done it yet. I would really appreciate your support. Today we continue working on the jumpsuit or an overall with a stand collar, button stand, frills, pockets, pleats, and the waistband. In the previous videos, I showed you how to change your basic pattern into a pattern for a jumpsuit. The pattern is ready, it's in front of me. Let's have a look at the sketch once again. There will be a waistband here. What I want to tell you is that it's very important to define the placement of the waistband during the first fitting. It's better to tack the upper and the lower parts first and prepare the waistband. During the first fitting, attach the waistband to your waistline, pin it, and mark the lower and the upper edges. Later, you will need to sew the waistband to these lines. If you tack the waistband before the fitting, you can do it wrong. It's hard to sew a waistband accurately without trying a jumpsuit on. At the fitting, you'll be able to feel if the waistband is comfortable. Do not forget to mark the lower and the upper edges. And then you'll cut the extra pieces from the bodice and trousers. Another important thing are the side seams in the bodice and trousers. If you want them to match, you need to think about it in advance. Let's see if they match in my case. I need to join the upper and the lower details of the back. The upper part is a bit smaller. I can also see that the darts do not match. I need to correct it. It's not a must to do it, just if you want to. I need to close this opening and make a new one. By doing so, I'll make the seams match. Be very attentive, please. Think about such things in advance, before cutting the fabric.
Для того, чтобы в спинке талиевая выточка верхняя и в брючках были вот точно на одной линии. Вот на эти моменты обращайте, пожалуйста, внимание. Складываем.
I'll draw it this way. I'll also make it a bit longer. The waist tucks in the bodice and the trousers match now. This is where the waist tuck is now. I need to extend the upper detail by 5 mm. In this case, the side seams will match. Sometimes it's not that important to make side seams of the upper and lower details on one line, but in some cases, especially if you want to make a zebra in a side seam, it's essential. I have already checked the other details. Everything is correct. I will probably need to cut an extra piece from the front. We'll see later. I can move the bodice aside. I'll start with the trousers. The pockets and the frills can also be moved aside. I've already pinned the pattern for the front detail of the trousers, and next I need to pin the pattern for the back detail. Be very attentive.
Карманы и воланы у меня пока в сторонке. Эскиз пока откладываю в сторону. Я приколола переднюю часть брюк и сейчас приколю заднюю часть брюк. Конечно,
Do not forget about the lengthwise grain. Here it is in the pattern.
вот долевая у меня.
Let's see if this line is placed on the lengthwise grain. This is very important. It should be parallel to the selvage.
Нельзя уходить. Да. Да.
I can pin the pattern now. I can start cutting the trousers.
Кроить брюки.
I remind you that it's not necessary to make a grain line on the back,
Она нам не
but it's very important to mark the knee line.
нужна для выкладывания на ткани. И, конечно, когда
These lines on the back and the front should match.
у нас в лифе, важно
It's also very important to be sure that this part is beautiful.
брюках и все, что касается брюк.
It should be smooth and accurate.
Также вы должны
If it's not, the trousers won't fit you.
потому что передняя и задняя половинка, вот эти точки должны
Don't make it too round.
и по боковому шву, и также по шаговому. И, пожалуйста, когда кроите брюки, следите за красотой вот этой линии. Если вы сделаете тут такой горбик, он потом никогда в жизни не будет лежать. Линии должны быть красивыми. Я уже в прошлом видео
I've already told you that I don't know how the girls who work in my fashion house tolerate me.
вообще.
I tell them about the same things and again.
Теперь в спинке я
I'm ready to start cutting the back details of the trousers.
в передней половинке брюк
I'm going to make some changes in the front.
такой как не маленький.
I'll show you what to do.
Что я сейчас вам расскажу, вы меня поймете. Можно и не вносить, но я так люблю, чтобы все было красиво.
I remind you that there is 1 centimeter wide opening here.
Сантиметр,
I'll outline it.
у нас вот тут вот приоткрылась вот такая вот. Поэтому мы его сейчас...
That means that I need to cut this distance from the top of the trousers.
Да, внимание, смотрим сюда.
Watch what I'm doing attentively.
Немножечко сантиметр. Вот так вот.
I remind you that I'm cutting these details because there is an opening here in the pattern. I've cut the extra details.
Еще сниму. У нас вот тут открылось, а тут немножко срезаем.
Heavily here.
Срезали вот этот лишний
This line doesn't match the lengthwise grain for about 5 millimeters.
метров. Мы их вот так вот раз.
I also want to cut an extra piece from it.
Какая хорошая линия. У нас все равно тут очень-очень много.
There's one more thing we need to pay attention to.
Второй момент, который я хочу вам показать.
The line should be smooth and beautiful. Don't make any angles when cutting the details.
Ну, как-то так себе.
When drawing patterns, make sure that the lines are smooth and beautiful.
Будем красиво, красиво, красиво его обходим. Все. И вообще, когда получают
There are no angles in our bodies.
моделирование, всегда работайте над линией, чтобы она была красивой. Карман
The seam allowance in the pocket is 7 millimeters.
сантиметры. Это ужасно.
Don't ever add more than needed.
И потом
Big seams spoil the view.
как надо что-то там эти
If you make wider seams, you'll just spend a lot of time on cutting extra pieces later.
потом, когда вы здесь вот
Learn to work quickly.
сразу включаете
Don't waste your time.
и вы считаете,
Be very careful when cutting.
теряете два среза по 3 миллиметра срезать и в другом кармане два среза по 3 миллиметра срезать. Оно вам надо? Вот мне точно оно не надо. Плавно и плавно.
I want to add 2 centimeters to the bottom.
Острые углы. Ну, я думаю, что снизу
I don't like too long trousers.
по два все-таки добавлю.
The length should be comfortable.
Еще к длине на всякий случай.
Do not forget to extend both the back and the front details.
По полу бродили за мной штаны, но и как бы, чтобы было нормально. И здесь 2 сантиметра. Что делаем с одной половиной? Все то же самое делаем с другой половиной.
Remember that the line should be smooth and beautiful.
Никаких острых углов, что у нас там
Forget about sharp angles.
все это обойти. Ох, какие у меня
The jumpsuit is going to be so beautiful.
Конечно, это макет.
I remind you that this is just a modern fabric.
Вот у нас центр перед.
The center front is accurate.
Вот у нас вход в кармашек какой.
The pocket is pretty beautiful.
Что такое? У меня все время ткань хочет убежать со стола. Бессовестная ткань сидит тут. О. Теперь представьте.
Just imagine how the pleats are going to look like.
На брюках.
Amazing.
И я буду
I can't wait to try jumpsuit on. Do not forget to make small notches to mark the knee level. It's very important.
не забываем.
I've almost forgotten to do it.
Ну, насечечка такая.
Do not forget about it. It's a must.
Колено. Я еще раз
The front details are ready.
право не знаю.
I can move on to cutting the back details.
Всё.
I don't need to measure or calculate anything. I'll just cut along the pattern.
Заднюю половинку брюк. Ничего уже не надо думать.
Be very careful and attentive when cutting.
Ой. Хочет моя ткань убежать. Но я ей не дам. Не на ту ты нарвалась, чтоб я тебе дала убежать. Линия
Do not forget about the notches on the knee level. Very nice.
отлично.
I need to trace the waist tuck right away.
Что? Выточку.
That's all for today.
Ой, я буду пере-
Today I've shown you how to make the waist tucks in the bodies and the trousers match, and how to cut the trousers for a jumpsuit. Next time, I'll show you how to cut the bodies.
Что нужно сделать, чтобы боковые
Be different and beautiful. My name is Irina Paukshte. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Goodbye.